because it's a time and a place for everything. I'm not gonna say he's right and I'm not gonna say he's wrong. You know, but it's so crazy. When he spoke about it, I could have easily came out and said, yeah, you spoke about it. I ain't have to say nothing.
More fighters that probably were afraid of him are not going to be afraid of him anymore.
I really don't know. Anything can happen, man. You know, possibility. Possibility. I would love to see a rematch, but it may happen, it may not.
Floyd Mayweather has shared his thoughts on the upcoming Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach rematch, saying Tank didn't look good in their first fight and should have skipped the second one. In response, Davis fired back, accusing Mayweather of being all about himself and never giving credit to other fighters. According to Tank, Floyd's issue with the rematch comes from jealousy and his constant need to be the center of attention.
First of all, Floyd don't never want to see no one like a fighter do better than them. How the say Turnscroft is your fight? Benavidez. That don't make no fucking sense. He don't never want to see nobody be better than him. I'm telling you.
You next in line. Just so you next in line.
Is there like a
last question, guys?
Is there like a love-hate for him? Like,
yeah,
love the fighter?
Yeah, I love the fighter. Like, I ain't gonna lie, if he was like chill, like he'll be the smoothest. But he's not. You know what I mean? He's a great fighter. And my bad.
And you good, man.
And he cause I don't want to say like he's just a scumbag, but it's like he's a great fighter, and sometimes he can be good, but it's like it's always I'm this.
Gervonta Davis's split from Mayweather Promotions stirred up major controversy. His exit was filled with public clashes and disagreements with Floyd Mayweather, exposing the tension in their working relationship. The two had very different ideas about how Davis's career should be handled. Their falling out, played out in the spotlight, put a focus on the power struggles in boxing and the tough choice fighters face between having control over their own path or sticking with big names who offer backing and influence.
Tank said, I'm not signed to a single soul. So is Tank now a free agent, or is he still signed with Mayweather Promotions?
Well, this is the Mayweather Deji press conference. So I'm here to talk about Dubai. I'm here to talk about entertaining the people, having fun. And I'm not here to talk disrespectful or bad about any fighter. You know, they say America is the land of the free. You know, so we live, we love, and we keep striving each and every day. That's what life is about.
Boxing legend Bernard Hopkins recently weighed in on Gervonta Davis's career, saying Davis had to break free from what was holding him back, namely, the control of Mayweather Promotions. Hopkins pointed out that Floyd Mayweather's tight grip on Davis's career stopped him from reaching his full potential. By walking away from that setup, Davis finally gained the freedom to call his own shots, including the decision to run it back with Lamont Roach. Hopkins believes this independence will let Davis grow into the fighter he's meant to be, making moves based on what he wants, not what others expect.
I commend Tank on saying, hey, this is my career. You had yours. I respect you from buying me a chain, buying me this, buying me that, take me on a jet. Now, all that's great, but at the end of the day, I'm only going by his interview. You seen it and I seen it. Thank you, Floyd Mayweather, for all the things you gave me. If the intentions was you just looking out for me. But I got an opportunity to fight this big fight. And this soap opera between you and Oscar for all these years, I'm not gonna let it affect me. That's my interpretation. And Tank wants to do the fight, but he had to break away from the chains of somebody he still respects and respected then. And he said, man, I gotta do what I gotta do. This is my career.
The first fight between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach stirred a lot of controversy, mainly due to the officiating. Referee Steve Willis took heat for not giving Roach key points during crucial moments, which many feel affected the final result. The match ended in a disputed draw, sparking debate among fans and experts. Davis didn't shy away from the criticism. Instead, he welcomed it, calling for a rematch to settle the score. He made it clear he's ready to get back in the ring and prove any doubters wrong. With all the drama surrounding the first bout, the rematch felt inevitable, and Davis is more than ready to show he's still in control.
I don't know what the just happened. You're a referee. You should have seen what's going on. Why I would have, if I'm in the corner, I'm erratic in between rounds. What was your feeling in between rounds when you seen that?
We was going off. My assistant coach, Ben Johnson, he was going off on him. Like, hey, Steve, what the wrong with you? He was cursing him out and everything. It was like, that was a knockdown. Yeah, he just stood off and waved us off, and he was like,
yeah, because for me, one person would have been having to deal with Lamont, and the other would have been the whole 60 seconds.
Yeah, that's how it was. I was dealing with him, and my man Ben was dealing with the rough.
Right.
We got his attention along with the low blows as well. I was like, how many blows you gonna let us hit us with before you take a point? And then he finally warned him like in the 11th round.
That's crazy. Is there anybody in boxing media or media in general, because nobody picked you guys to win at all. Nobody. I mean, I seen you guys go on promotional tours from whether it was boxing podcast to the Breakfast Club. Nobody picked you guys to win. Like, when you get a second, you grab me a water. Sorry. And is there anybody that you got, I know because it's more than one person, but is there anybody, thank you, that you took personal out of all the interviews that you did? Is it one or two people or three people that you be like, this right here, anybody else, but I want to prove this one person wrong?
It's not necessarily that I wanted to prove them wrong, so I wanted everybody to shut the fuck up, for real.
Yeah.
Like, but I already said.
Gervonta Davis is pushing for a rematch with Lamont Roach, knowing the first fight left a mark on his reputation. He sees this as a shot to clear the air, show his dominance, and remind everyone why he's one of the best in the world.
We gotta talk about it. So Tank officially came out and says that he wants to put this rematch as early as May. Now, if that were to happen, Lamont Roach gets a second time to prove himself. Now, in my personal opinion, his stock has already risen. He is already notable. The fact that he went toe-to-toe with Tank on a decision that ended in a draw, whether he loses this second fight or not won't even matter. Because he's directly in line to go against the Keyshawn Davis, the Shakur Stevensons, and etc., the Devin Haney's, and etc. I can see him moving up and going against Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia or somebody like that. So many people to fight. Lamont Roach has definitely proven himself. But let's talk about something else. And that is the hairstylist situation. In my humble opinion, I believe she should have been quiet. As a hairstylist, there was nothing for you to say. No fan in boxing was going to look at them like, I don't want her braiding my hair. No one would have said that. But she hurt herself when she came out and publicly made multiple claims, got all these receipts that no one needed, no one asked for, saying, oh, this had no grease or oil in it. No one cares. Nobody even believes it. Sometimes it's best to remain quiet. But you guys let me know in the comments. Should she have remained quiet, or should she have did what she did, which is spoke up? You let me know.
Jeff Mayweather, Floyd's uncle, shared his reaction to the controversial outcome of the first Davis versus Roach fight, saying he was genuinely surprised by how it all played out. Still, he made it clear he's a big fan of Gervonta Davis and doesn't see the result as a robbery. However, Jeff did admit that Roach's performance shook things up. Fighters who once feared Davis might now feel more confident stepping into the ring with him, putting questions around Tank's dominance.
First of all, you're surprised that everybody's wanting to see a rematch between these two because no one expected it to be a close fight in the first place.
That much is true. And me, myself, I'm a big Tank fan. And I was shocked. At the outcome of the fight.
Who did you have winning the fight?
I had Roach winning the fight.
Do you consider it robbery, or do you lean Roach and are cool with the draw?
I wouldn't say it was a robbery. The fight was close. But if I was a judge, I would have gave Roach the fight.
Talking about this rematch, what do you? So the one thing Tank always had for him, everyone, he had that kind of almost like Mike Tyson-esque, right? You know, the air of invincibility, you know, the knockout power, people were scared of him, you know, that kind of thing. Do you think what Roach did to him moving up in weight, you know, and not being a big puncher himself, you know, but able to withstand Tank, that kind of his air of invincibility has maybe been slightly diminished?
I won't say it's been diminished, but I do think that more people, more fighters that probably were afraid of him are not going to be afraid of him anymore.
And do you think that's almost something that could play in Tank's hand, right? Maybe we had an off day, you know, everybody has an off day, and you know, take him.
Yeah, everybody can have off night, but I think the one thing that is the most important thing that nobody's talking about is the fact that
The decision to host the rematch in Las Vegas pays tribute to the city's rich boxing history, even though some fans, used to seeing Davis fight in Saudi Arabia, had their doubts. Still, the June rematch is building serious global buzz, with fight fans everywhere eager to see how it plays out.
The good rumor is that Gervonta Davis Lamont Roach are going to be rematching possibly June 21st in Las Vegas. I don't know if Vegas just wanted to fight off the publicity, especially with Turkey taking a lot of fights over to Riyadh, or they didn't want to return back to New York to stay athletic commission after they did Lamont Roach dirty. But Lamont said the terms are already agreed on for a rematch. He just had to sign it, so it seemed like it's going to be this Vegas summer blockbuster. It's probably going to be the biggest fight of the year as far as in the United States. So it'll be interesting. Nevada State Athletic Commission don't play, but we'll see how it goes.
Shakur Stevenson, one of the top names in the lightweight division, gave his take on the upcoming Davis versus Roach rematch. Having sparred with Roach before, Stevenson believes Roach might have the edge this time around. He highlighted Roach's unique style, saying it's unlike anything Davis has dealt with in the ring.
What does look like between Lamont and Gervonta, you think?
I like Lamont in the rematch.
You were one of the few that kind of picked Lamont to begin with. Why was that?
I sparred with Lamont. I knew that he was a good fighter. He helped me get ready for the Oscar Valdez fight. And I knew his style, with Tank's style, what he was going to be able to bring to the table. I knew it. So,
did you really win 20 rounds?
I swear to God, on my daughter's life, I won that much money.
How different does a rematch look in your opinion, Shakur? What adjustments do you think we see from both?
Huh?
What adjustments do we see from both in a rematch?
I think I can't tell you game plans. I could be fighting these guys, so I'm gonna keep my secrets to myself. But truthfully, they both good fighters.
Do you think it's a lot different rematch, or do you think it'll be close again?
It's gonna be a hell of a fight.
How did you see Tank in that fight? A lot of people are saying maybe he's just mentally not there. What did you see?
Nah, he was the same Tank. I don't believe that. I don't got no thought in my brain that makes me think that he wasn't the person he been in all of these other fights. I think he was the same person. All this stuff that he going through stuff. I mean, everybody go through stuff. So he's the same fighter. He's going to be the same fighter throughout his career. So
Lamont Roach has been outspoken about his issues with the officiating in his first fight against Gervonta Davis. He's repeatedly pointed out that referee Steve Willis made several key errors, including not awarding Roach points at critical moments. Roach feels that Willis's decisions were unfair and played a big role in the fight's outcome.
Obviously the part with the grease in the eye, that took on a life of its own. You know what I'm saying? That was a headline in the fight. One is, what did you think when he said that initially, just like the grease in the eye? But two is like, when you was in the fight, was there any point that you saw that? Like, did you see like him kind of messing with his eye, or did you have any indication that that was something that was bothering him?
No, see, and that's the thing. If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before
you jabbed him.
Before I jabbed him. Even that right hand that, like, you know what I'm saying, that kind of landed, he kind of rolled with it. But after that, you could see him wipe his eye. And then, right after I hit him with the jab, you could see him wipe his other eye. So it's like, it was corresponding to which hand that I punched him with and exactly which eye. So it's like crazy for him to say, it's grease in my eye. And I think even when he say that, you could see me, because I'm right beside him, you could see me like, nigga, what you talking about? So,
right. But you say you don't think he willing though.
Whatever. See, but who cares? Like, sweat gonna get in your eye, blood gonna get in your eye.
Yeah, it don't matter.
Spit fucking around and get in your eye. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like you can be like, all right, time out, ref. Hold on, ref.
No time out.
You can't do that.
Right. Would you be cool with Steve Willis doing the next fight?
Hell no.
He can't do the next fight.
No, he can't do the next fight.
Right.
No.
Pops, it's a no?
Hell no.
Yeah, fuck that nigga.
Yeah. You know how many Coach Ben on him, man. He lucky he ain't running Coach Ben after that fight.
But look how many times he fucked the fight up though. Right. The knee, him going to the corner to get assistance, like who knows? Not saying that they did any cheating shit or nothing like that. But like he wiped his face with a towel. You can't do that.
Right.
You can't do none of that. Right. That's a disqualification. You turned your back on the ref after you took a knee. Usually the ref will be like, all right, he don't want to fight no more. Fight's off.
Bozy Ennis, the father and trainer of rising star Jaron Boots Ennis, shared his thoughts on the first Davis versus Roach fight. He believes Gervonta Davis should have been disqualified for an illegal knee, but the situation ended up working in Davis's favor. Ennis pointed out that the referees seemed to favor Davis, which he feels led to an unfair result.
Saying that he won the fight, you know what I mean? You know, and then that when he took that knee, that really was supposed to be a disqualification, you know what I mean? And then you can't go to the corner and get your eyes wiped, you know what I mean, with a towel and all that, you know what I mean? Anybody else would have got disqualified or getting points taken away, some, you know what I mean? So other than that, you know what I mean, that's where I look at it.
As far as game plans go, how should Gervonta Davis approach this fight?
I think something might have been on Tank's mind, you know what I mean? Because he didn't fight the way he normally fight. To me, I mean, that's the way it looked to me. You know what I mean? He looked like something was on his mind. He was worrying about something. I mean, but he still fought good though. You know what I mean? But like he normally do. You know what I mean?
If you're Lamont, do you press the action early or do you do exactly what you did in the first fight? Whereas they'll press him after round 6, round 7, round 8.
I think he needs to press the fight more and stay busy. You know what I mean? You know, because he looked good. Like I said, both of them look good. You know what I mean? Can't take that away from neither one of them. That was a beautiful fight, man.
Should the rematch happen next, or should Tank maybe take a Shakur or a Lomachenko?
You said Tank?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, if it don't happen next, you know what I mean? If it don't happen next, Lamont gonna wind up fighting Shakur.
Mikey Garcia, a former world champion, also shared his thoughts on the upcoming rematch between Davis and Roach. He believes Davis will make adjustments and avoid the mistakes he made in their first fight, giving him the upper hand in the rematch. However, Garcia cautioned that if Davis was dealing with any mental struggles or distractions, he shouldn't step into the ring unless he was fully focused and prepared.
Then hopefully, I'd like to see it.
I think Tank wins in the rematch.
Why?
I think he'll make the right adjustments and he won't take too long to fight. He kind of gave a lot of the round away sometimes. I think he'll be more active and he'll win. But big props to Roach for his last fight and performance. Fuck, I'm surprised everybody.
Right.
I think he was robbed from the victory. Again, that knockdown should have been a knockdown.
Right.
But whatever, he gets a rematch, you know. And maybe they get a third fight, you know, after that. Who knows? Maybe
it turns the Marcus Pacquiao.
Maybe it turns out to be another great fucking matchup, and they say, you know what, let's run it back.
Right.
And maybe that controversy from the first fight actually helps Roach fucking get 3 fights out of it instead of just the one, or you know, you never know. So hey, things happen for a reason, and I think he did really well in his first one. Hopefully he puts on a great fight, even if he were to lose, but in a great fight. He'll get a third fight, right? You know?
Coach Kenny Ellis, who has trained several notable boxers, shared his take on the upcoming rematch between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach. Ellis wasn't overly confident about Davis's chances, calling the rematch a 50-50 fight. He pointed out that both fighters have their strengths and weaknesses, and the outcome would depend on how well each adapted to the other's style.
What happened? I really don't know. Anything can happen, man. You know, possibility. Possibility. I would love to see a rematch, but it may happen, it may not. You know, life goes on. You know, life goes on.
What would you say how would you feel like the media would per se see it if the fight wasn't to happen?
50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50-50.
You would have people that wouldn't care, people that would care.
Yeah. Just like this, some people say Lamont won, some people say Tank won, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Teofimo Lopez, another key figure in boxing, weighed in on the fallout from the Davis versus Roach fight. Lopez pointed out that after the controversial draw, Davis found himself somewhat isolated, with many questioning his place in the boxing world. The fight's outcome sparked increased scrutiny of Davis's career, as some fans and analysts were quick to criticize him. Lopez noted that the controversy left Davis in a vulnerable spot, with his reputation and standing as a top fighter on the line. This added extra pressure as Davis prepared for the rematch, knowing that many were eager to see if he could recover and prove himself in the ring.
I know a lot of people, look what they did with Gervonta too. I want everybody, all these young fighters that are listening to this, and you could clip this. It's a short part right here.
I got you.
To Ryan could clip this right here. To all you young fighters, look at the amount of love they were giving and sharing to Gervonta Tank Davis prior to the fight. Look at what all the reporters were doing prior to the fight. Look how they were all laughing at all his jokes prior to his fight against Lamont Roach. After the fight, look how many were waiting to down this man. Down him. See, I'm going to talk my smack with Tank, but that's because I want to fight him. That's me. I can say that. But I just want all you young fighters to really look about it. They don't care about us.
Yeah.
They won't ever care about us. When you winning, they're going to be there. But they're waiting for any moment to slip up. Just a man, even a draw, look how much hate he got out of it.
Yeah, not to get deep, but you know, it's a part of our psychology. We have to learn how to care about other people. You know what I mean?
That's a wrap for today's video. Stay tuned for the next one.